Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Pure Faith Podcast, a podcast where we discuss all things Bible. My name's Michelle. This is my brother, Mitchell, and we are very thankful that you are joining us today. We ask that you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit the notification icon to be notified when new episodes are released.
You actually did a good job on that one.
Thanks. Even I added a couple lines.
Yeah, I noticed.
I know, right? Because I don't remember it. I say it every week, but I cannot memorize this.
And it's not like you like I didn't print it out for you that you could take it home and.
Oh no! It literally goes right back in the folder after I leave here. I don't study this intro because you put it on paper. If you would say you have to memorize it, then I would. But it's on a piece of paper I can always take out of my folder. So take it out, put it back, get it out later. No memorizing. Right?
Sure.
How are things?
Good.
Life's good?
Sure.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. We've got a showing. We had a showing of the movie. It was fantastic. We had a huge turnout.
Good movie. Real tearjerker.
Yeah. I hope you get to see it. Maybe we'll show it again. No, maybe. I look forward to not seeing this because I'm too busy. I mean, seriously. So sad.
This is all I've heard for like the last 4 days.
So what lesson have you learned?
Not to talk to you.
That's what caused the problem. That's what caused it. All you do is say, "Hey, Shal, look," because that's what you would say. Hey, Shal.
Hey, it's not about you. It's not about you.
But then you asked me if I would help. So I know it's not about me, but you involve me into all of this. We are recording. I'm so sorry. Lord God, please forgive me for my sins.
Okay, I did. Okay.
Sorry, guys. We have been doing this for a little while since pre-recording. We've been giggling a little bit. So fellowship is good. We enjoy it very much. So I do want to give a shout out to Noah Waymire. He did a ruck this morning. Is that what you call it? Is it a ruck?
Oh, a ruck?
There.
Like a ruck march?
Yes. Okay. So Noah traveled down to Panama City from Mississippi to be a part of this ruck. And he, I have a hard time saying it. I know, right? Ruck. So, they put their full fatigues on, and they put it on a book. They put on their bag, and they carry all their equipment. A rucksack, like they do all of this. Okay, why do you keep laughing at me? His book bag. His rucksack. Oh, please forgive me. Anyhow, so he does this. Stop laughing at me.
Was this a competition, ruck march?
Okay, no. It was this. He did this for a medal, so it was like a competitive thing. They had to have it done in 4 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
18 miles. So
I had the opportunity to do that, and I said no.
So something about he gets a Norwegian medal, but then also if he does something else and he gets a German one, and I don't know. He was telling me all about it, and I was listening. I was listening, Noah. But anyhow, he does this today. He has to be there at 5 a.m. this morning, okay? And he does this, and you have to have it done in 4 hours and 30 minutes. And at that 4-hour mark, no, he wanted to do it in 4 hours. At that 4-hour mark, Don starts sending me messages. Have you heard anything from Noah? Have you heard anything from Noah? No, I've not heard anything from Noah.
I've known a lot of guys that have done this.
Yeah.
They had a couple of them when I was on my last deployment, and it is not pleasant.
It's not pleasant, especially when you do it in Panama City and you realize when you get there, it's all in sand.
Well, they did it all in sand too. But
did they?
It's because they did it in Kuwait, which is only sand.
Mind you, Dylan told me, doing the sand is like going overseas and you're in the sand all the time. I mean, he was at my house today when we got some of these messages. Anyhow, but he did complete it in 4 hours and I think it was 17 minutes. So he barely got it. Unfortunately, the other guy that did it with him, who also went to BG, I think, Miller was his name. Anyhow, he missed it. So I feel bad for him because he missed it, but they said they're going to do another one. It will be on pavement. The next one's going to be on pavement, he said. He said it'll go a lot easier, but it's torture. I mean, he's completely exhausted. Yeah, it is. Because he's got his book bag on.
And I forget what the weight is. Is it 25 pounds or 50 pounds?
He did not tell me this.
Yeah.
For God's sake, he didn't tell me it was a rucksack. I said it was a book bag.
It's kind of like book bag. Yeah, you have to have a certain amount of weight.
Yes, you do. So, like I said, he had been training for it, off and on.
It's like a marathon.
Yeah, you have to train for it.
What's the total distance again? It's
18 miles, 18 point something miles or something.
Crazy far.
Yeah. So he did. He completed it, so he's going to get his medal. So congratulations, Noah. We're very proud of you. I know that
I think you're dumb.
That's not very nice. Oh, that's not very nice. So, but anyhow, that's my share for today. Do we do shares?
I guess.
Yeah, sure. You don't have anything to share.
No. Our cat's still alive.
Oh, Mitchell had a thing. Did you hear about this cat? It got stuck up in his car. Who saw on social media to honk your horn before starting your car because there could be a cat in it? Everybody but Mitchell. Everybody but Mitchell. So he went. What?
I was trying to when he does that.
Why are you laughing so much at me?
Oh.
You did this. You got in your car and you drove down the road and you heard. And you look back and you saw a cat rolling.
Like, oh no, I killed Zeke's cat. He's like, oh, I felt bad.
And then when he backed up because he forgot his phone, not to check the cat because he forgot his phone. When he backed up, the cat was gone.
It's true too.
But the cat's still alive.
It wasn't gone. It was in the ditch. So I'm like, well, apparently I didn't kill it the first pass. And I was afraid I was going to have to put it down. But surprisingly, there was no physical or visible injuries to it. They let me pick it up, took it home, put it in the back of Zeke's gator, his little toy gator.
Made it a bed.
Water, made it a bed. I'm like, well, if it dies, it dies. If it's in God's hands, well, it's still alive. It didn't walk very good.
Did you tell Zeke that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to because I wasn't going to come home and pick it up and carry it around and
wrap it up in a blanket because they carry it around in a blanket.
Yeah, so I had to tell him on the way home that he was in an accident.
Were they upset?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, they handled it pretty good. So they knew. We told them you got to
be gentle.
You can't touch the cat right now. You can look at him, but don't touch him. Her. So.
Okay.
They did good.
And now she's back to her normal routine?
She's 95%.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I messed up her hip.
Oh. So do you honk the horn when you get in or you just check for the cat?
I slam on my brakes.
For what reason?
If she's in there, she'll fall out. I'll back up like maybe 5 miles an hour and slam on my brakes. Do it a few times. If I'm seeing a cat running, I must be good.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, it's worked for the last 6 days.
If you would just leave the cat in the house 24/7, you don't have to worry about.
You're the one who said, do not let the cat go in the house.
I would not let the cat in the house. My cat is in the house, and I would not let another cat in the house. That's what I said last time when.
You'll let another cat in the house.
Nope. Once Daniel's gone, that's an emotional support animal. It's going to college. I'm filling out the paperwork. I'm going to sign it. It is an emotional support animal. It must go. They must take it at BG.
Good luck with that.
Well, it's going to have to go. I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out. So. All right. 10 minutes.
Did you start a timer?
Yeah, I did. We've been talking for 10 minutes. So I guess you should really stop talking and probably start doing Bible study.
Me. All right, you ready to get started?
I mean, I guess.
Might
Let
as well.
me
I mean,
on.
we're here.
Let me on. Go for
I
it.
don't know why you would yawn. We're going to talk about salt today.
Oh,
Salt.
I'm ready. What page are we on?
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't have page numbers. I forgot.
We're on Matthew 5.
11 through 16.
13.
Okay, 13. That's page 7. All right, I'm ready. Oh, yes, you are the salt of the earth.
You won.
But if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet.
It's very true. So with this verse, we are transitioning out of the whole beatitude feel. We're no longer going to be discussing Macarios. I know, sad.
Sweet Jesus.
Did you do? Did you have coffee or something before this?
I said Dylan came to our house.
So you had something with a little higher alcohol content? Is it an Irish coffee?
You are the salt of the earth.
So yeah, we're transitioning out. We are still in the Sermon on the Mount. So this is still part of Jesus' teachings.
Oh, yes.
I know we have spent a lot of time covering the Beatitudes, but that's just the opening of the Sermon on the Mount.
Mm-hmm.
So over the next few chapters, we're still going to be covering the Sermon on the Mount. So as we get into some of these teachings, like this one, we will probably go a little bit faster, even though I think we probably won't get through this verse in this episode. But as we go on and move forward, it should go a little bit faster.
Okay.
But in order to understand this one, we have to, look at the very first line, or the first section. You are the salt of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
This is an obvious metaphor. But who is Jesus referring to as salt? Well, the obvious answer is in the very first word of verse 13. You. So yes, he is referring to you as Christians.
Okay.
So we Christians are the salt of the earth. That is the most obvious reference to this metaphor. But what does it mean for us to be salt of the earth? Like, what is he trying to tell us by saying that we are the salt of the earth? So in order to understand this, we need to understand what salt actually is.
Okay.
And how it's used both then and now. So, sorry, I got something in my throat.
Obviously. Oh,
Yeah, no.
Are you going to take a big drink of your chocolate milk?
Do you want me to?
No.
Then I should.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So salt has two primary functions, and this is true for the ancient Israelites
Okay.
back in the days of Jesus, as well as today. The first one, it's pretty obvious. Salt is used for flavoring for food. I don't think I need to go into any depth any in-depth explanation for that. I think everybody realizes that if you add salt to food, it changes the flavor.
It does. It also gives you high cholesterol, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Blood pressure.
No, high blood pressure. Same.
Okay.
Full milk gives me like cholesterol.
Oh, okay. See, I don't have
And
these
butter.
issues, so.
Shouldn't have butter either.
Oh, okay.
Olive oil is good for your cholesterol.
Let me make a note of that.
Vegetable oil is not.
Okay.
Butter is not.
Salt.
Skim milk is good.
Dad used a lot of salt. Lard.
We're all going to tangent. All right. So
we all know what salt is. Oh,
Dad and
oh my.
Their family, they would take lard and just put it on bread and just eat it.
It's so gross.
There's a reason he's not with us anymore.
He was the salt of the earth.
Yeah. So the other primary function of salt is as a preservative.
Okay.
And the way salt works as a preservative, for some people don't know, this isn't quite as obvious as just putting salt in food and it changes the flavor. As a preservative, it works in a few different ways. So if you put salt on something up to a point, you're just adding salt and flavor to food.
Right.
But once you get to a certain concentration of salt, then it becomes more of a preservative. And the way it works is it pulls moisture from the cells within that food. So at a certain point, once your salt gets to a high enough concentration, it's pulling that salt out of the cells. Well, it's pulling the salt out of the bad cells, and it's killing the bad cells and the stuff that would ultimately cause your food to decay and rot and break down. So it's killing that stuff, which is preserving your food. But the good stuff is allowed to continue to live. But once you get too much salt on it, well, then even the good stuff's going to die, and then your food is pretty much ruined.
Ruined.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can also use salt as a brine, and that's just basically salt water.
Okay.
And this is what I do whenever I make my hot sauce.
Oh.
I ferment my peppers in brine.
Okay. And then you get it on your fingers and you rub your eyes.
And it hurts.
And it hurts.
Yeah. Even if you got gloves on. Take gloves off. Ow. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's the issue I had the other day.
I know you did. Hot sauce.
Hot sauce. So yes, you take the peppers, put them in the jar, and you put salt water in there. But that salt water has to be a certain concentration of salt to water. And then it also has to be a certain type of salt too. You can't just use table salt.
Okay.
It has iodine in it. So it has to be like a canning salt, and you have that certain ratio that you put in on your peppers. Well, when it does that, it does the same thing as preserving your meats, putting salt in your meats. It will kill the bad bacteria while allowing that good bacteria to thrive.
Okay.
And so as long as my peppers are submerged in that salt water, they could stay good for a very, very long time.
Gotcha.
Because there's no bad bacteria that can live in there
to ruin it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I told you I want to talk about hot sauce.
Mm.
But I want you to understand this concept of this salt with the flavoring, with preserving. Because, like I said, salt up to a certain point is just flavoring your food. Then you go to another level, and it is preserving your food. And then after that, it's ruining your food.
Right, right. I got that.
So another way to look at this, again, referencing back to the fact that we are the salt of the earth. If we change that concept of the good stuff and the bad stuff to the righteous and the evil, if you put a certain amount of salt, a certain amount of flavoring into your foods, then yes, you're good, you're righteous, will do okay, but the evil will also be allowed to exist. Now, once you get into that preserving level, well, now you're killing the evil. You're getting rid of the evil and allowing the righteous to thrive. But if you get too much, then both the good, the righteous, and the evil will be under stress. So hopefully that helps you understand this whole concept of salt of the earth. So let me get caught up on my notes here. But it goes a little bit deeper than that, because there are other scholars, because like we said, the obvious metaphor for this is us, Christians, being the salt of the earth.
Right.
But there are other scholars, theologians, that think that this salt that is Jesus is referring to isn't us Christians. It is referring to wisdom. And that wisdom is the flavoring. That wisdom is the preservative But we, as Christians, are the ones who have that wisdom. And so we are the ones salting the earth.
Why did you make it difficult for?
Well, once we get into the next section, that
Okay.
makes more sense.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and move on into the next one, which is, but if salt has lost its taste.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, it's not even this one. I think it's the one after this, but
Okay.
we'll eventually get back to that answer. So if salt has lost its taste, this statement is a contradiction. Salt cannot lose its taste. Salt is simply a compound. Are we out of time?
No.
Okay. It's sodium chloride. I mean, that's salt.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. If it's no longer salt, if it loses its saltiness, it's no longer sodium chloride. So it's no longer salt.
It's nothing.
Yes, exactly. It is sodium chloride. Yeah, it's sodium chloride. I was questioning myself there for a second.
I wasn't questioning you.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But with Jesus talking about, well, salt has lost its taste.
Yes.
Well, now we have to understand what salt the ancient Israelites had. They got their salt from the Dead Sea.
Okay.
But that salt was not 100% pure salt. It was salt mixed in with other types of minerals in a very high concentration. So if they had salt and they brought it home and, okay, this is salt, tastes like salt, but over time they still have this substance, but it no longer tastes like salt, it's probably because the salt dissolved away.
Mm.
And now they're just left with these other minerals
Mm-hmm.
that don't taste like salt because they're not salt.
Right.
So the ancient Israelites would understand this line. They would understand that salt can lose its saltiness because they didn't realize that salt was just sodium chloride. It was this stuff that they got from the Dead Sea that they could use for flavoring and preservative. So that's what this is talking about. But again, this isn't necessarily about salt. This is about, again, us being the salt. So whenever you replace this salt that Jesus is talking about with that metaphor of us as Christians, then we see that it's about us losing our faith, us losing our belief in Jesus, our trust in Jesus, us just losing our path and falling away from our religion, our faith. And so that's what Jesus is kind of referring to here. So even though this statement would make sense to the ancient Israelites as salt can lose its saltiness, even though technically it can't, we can look at it in this metaphorical way as when we lose our way. How much time do we got?
You got about 6 minutes.
And actually, this is that answer to the question you were talking about. Because if you look at lost its taste, if salt lost its taste, well, that lost its taste in other translations is actually translated as tasteless, right? Yeah, tasteless. And that is the more accurate Greek word translation is tasteless. But that same Greek word also means, hold on, foolishness.
Foolishness.
So you could take this verbiage here, if salt loses its taste or salt loses its saltiness, as if salt loses or if salt becomes foolishness. But then if you go back to that salt, also meaning wisdom, because, okay, if we become fools, okay, that makes sense. But if our wisdom becomes foolishness, that's what is really being highlighted here, and that's why a lot of scholars do believe that the salt is
the wisdom.
And it does actually work, because then if we go and look at it in the sense that we as Christians are meant to go out and be the salt of the world,
right?
Then we are meant to go out and be disciples. We are meant to go out and share the gospel, and this can happen on multiple different levels. If you're the type of person that, okay, let's say you're the the person who, okay, you accepted Jesus Christ, but then you live in your parents' basement and you never see the light of day and you never share Jesus with anybody except the shadows on the wall, then guess what? You're going to be the salt that is thrown out.
I was
You've
gonna say,
lost
are you?
your taste.
Yeah, you're tasteless.
But then if you're the type of person that, you live your life righteously, you follow the Beatitudes, and you may not be really that outspoken about Jesus, but you're living your life righteously, and people see that, well, now you're kind of acting as a little bit of flavoring to this world. You're living your life in a Christian way, according to Jesus, according to the Bible, and so people will see that and be flavored from it. And then this can keep going up. You can take multiple different levels, all the way up to the point that once you start just publicly preaching, being in a position where you're just sharing Jesus with everybody and anybody, then you're getting into that preservation level where you're adding even more salt, more flavoring to the point that now you are trying to draw the evil out of people and allowing the good, the righteous to thrive. But like we were saying before, you can go too far, and that's when you are going to alienate the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So those are the people typically standing on the street corners with signs yelling at you, no matter who you are, and just alienating people.
Yeah.
They're just a little too extreme.
Gotcha.
So that's over seasoning.
Okay. That's too much salt.
That's just as bad as the guy living in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay. Happy medium.
happy medium.
Gotcha.
So are you flavoring or are you preserving?
That's a good question.
I don't know what we are. We're on the border, I think.
Maybe.
Are we out of time?
No.
No.
I didn't say that. I'm flavoring. Why is it comical?
I don't think we have time for me to do the next section though.
Okay.
Do I? How much time do we got? 2 minutes? Sure, why not?
Go for it.
So how shall its saltiness be restored? Well, again, once salt is no longer salt, it cannot be salt again. That's just the way it works. But looking at it in this vein of wisdom, if you do lose your wisdom, if you do fall off the wagon, so to speak,
Okay.
you walk away from Jesus, you become foolish, but you can regain that wisdom. Salt can't become salt again, but if you lose your wisdom, you can gain it back.
I believe it.
Yeah, I mean that's another reason why a lot of people like this wisdom instead of we like. It both works.
Yeah. But I can see now where that comes from.
Yeah, but along the same lines, if you lose your path, you can find your path.
Yes.
I mean, if you lose your way, you can find the way again, and the way just happens to be Jesus.
Right.
In case anybody was wondering.
No, nope, I knew that.
The answer is always Jesus.
I got that.
So how is the saltiness going to be restored? Well, one of the commentaries that I study kind of changed the way I was viewing this whenever I was first studying it, because it isn't so much about how can your wisdom be restored, but if you lose that wisdom, if you lose your path, if you lose your way, what's going to fill in that void? What's going to replace Jesus? What's going to fill in that gap that is left in your heart? Because we, as humans, we are designed to worship. That's just the way we are. That's the way we were designed. So if we're not worshiping Jesus, we're not worshiping God, what are we worshiping? Who are we worshiping?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really this question. What's going to fill that void? It could be numerous things, probably incalculable. But chances are it's not going to be heavenly.
Mm.
It is going to be of this world. Very good chance it's going to be of an evil nature, and you are going to go down a path that you really don't want to go down.
Right.
So your best choice is to regain your wisdom, to come back to Jesus, and to live a righteous life.
I agree.
Is that what I got?
I don't know.
Oh, so there's still more to this verse, but we'll stop there because I know I don't have time to finish that.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
You talk too much. All right, so you're done for tonight.
Okay.
All right. So we thank you for joining us for another episode of the Pure Faith Podcast. Please leave a comment on this video or go to the contact page on purefaithliving.com to send us a message. And as always, if you like what you hear, then we ask that you share the show with others so we can all work together in spreading the good news of Jesus Christ. Oh my gosh, I almost got it. Don't forget to subscribe and we'll talk to you next time.
Have a blessed day, everybody.
I still can't memorize it.